What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back with career mode. This is season number 4, and you guys are about to find out which team I'm going to be driving for in this season in an effort to chase down McLaren and overtake them in the drivers' standings. Now, the 3 offers we got were Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. As you can see, we have signed for Red Bull. For me, probably the most logical choice. I feel like on merit, Ferrari and Mercedes were just too quick, so we had to go for the underdog once again. Again, it's like another underdog story, trying to return former glory to Red Bull and try and topple some of the top teams in the sport. Now, before we left the team, you guys didn't know this, but I went behind the scenes and I spent the best part of 10,000 resource points in the lead up to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now, bear in mind, most of these upgrades didn't actually apply until this season is now starting. So you guys were heavily requesting in the comments to see a fully upgraded McLaren. I can tell you we are pretty much there. McLaren still have a few performance upgrades to do, but for the most part, they are most of the way there. They just need to do a few chassis upgrades, like a major and an Ultimate 1 Plus tyre wear and stuff. But for the most part, McLaren is just about at maximum potential. And as you can see there, they are streaks ahead of Ferrari and Mercedes. We're in the Red Bull, which is even lower than them. So there might be a bit of a performance gap. Now, bear in mind, I actually did all of this behind the scenes before the 1.11 patch came out in anticipation to make a car that was still at least a beast in the corners to kind of make up for the lack of straight line speed, because you guys know how slow the McLaren was. We now fast forward to next season. After all these upgrades have been applied, Codemasters themselves have boosted the engine speed of the McLaren as well, and you can see they're actually ahead of us in the power unit standing. So the McLaren Honda is going to be, what I think, massively overpowered heading into this season. They're going to be, really solid in a straight line, and they are by far going to be the best car aerodynamically in the field. Once you see the aero charts for that car, it is unbelievable. We had 2 ultimate upgrades ready to be applied to that car, and we did those with the spending of 10,000 resource points. The McLaren is well and truly the best car on the grid. But that's Friday practice. Time for qualifying for our first race in Red Bull.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly.
Thanks for that, Crofty. Welcome, guys, to the Australian Grand Prix. Now is it's go time to see what both McLaren and also Red Bull are capable of in Season 4 of this career mode. I will say, initially, there weren't too many differences in the way that both cars felt. The Red Bull kind of achieves its lap time the same in a similar way that the McLaren did. They're both very strong aerodynamically, but the McLaren is definitely more so now. But as you can see there, first run in Q1 was a bit unstable with the front end. I've now found out that the Red Bull has got more front downforce upgrades applied to the car than what it has rear downforce. So there is a little bit of an instability issue, which we will need to kind of tune out of the car as we go on with this season. We'll need to do some rear downforce upgrades, but for now, we're probably going to have to run with more rear downforce than front in order to counteract that balance. Q1 is over. It was a shocking lap by me. Definitely not the true potential of the car. I think we're easily going to sneak into the top 5, I think. It's just a matter of actually nailing the lap. So as we go on to Q2 now, Alonso is topping the timesheets with a 1 minute 19.999. I tell you, I have not seen 119s at Melbourne ever since like F1 2011, and that was technically the fastest F1 game out of the entire series by Codemasters, and here we are seeing AI doing 19s, not the player. So that is just an indication as to how OP this car is, at least in Alonso's hands. He is absolutely spanking Stoffel Van Dorn at this stage, who now stands in to replace me at McLaren. So we head off for Q3 now, doing the 1 run at the moment. I wanted to save a few tyres just in case we needed them for the race. Purple 2, the middle sector, which is actually really surprising. I don't know how we were fastest in that sector of the Grand Prix, but I will certainly take it. Heading into the 3rd sector now. Ran a little bit wide through that right-hander, might cost me about a 10th there. Through the fast right-hander again, 6th gear, really nice through there when you can have a car that just behaves. It is really satisfying to flow it through there. Through the final corner, again, not the greatest of exits. I think I take a line that is too tight in order to maximize the straight line speed, but across the line it is only second place. There was no way we were going to challenge for pole position today, and yeah, Fernando was absolutely streaks ahead of everyone. Pretty alarming for Stoffel as well to be 9/10 away from his teammate. That is absolutely mental. But Fernando gets pole position with a 1 minute 19.961. Best his time that he set in Q2, so that further confirms how strong that car is. That certainly wasn't a fluke what he put together in Q2, but yeah, we certainly have our work cut out for us. And Mercedes and Ferrari as well. We haven't really spoken about them yet. They were no challenge for even us. Like even if we didn't do the McLaren upgrades, like Ferrari and Mercedes weren't going to be there challenging for pole. That is absolutely outstanding. So those guys need to get a move on in terms of their research and development. I feel like those two teams in particular have been a little bit lazy as of late, so they need to get their act together if they want to challenge for the title in Season 4. But that's our first qualifying session. Pretty alarming signs. The race can always turn out differently, especially if we do it one stop and they don't. But I'd assume with all the tyre wear upgrades to McLaren, they will be following suit. So it's time for the race.
Qualifying from Fernando Alonso. He starts from pole position and a Red Bull alongside.
Right, let's be patient going into turn 1. We want to be in a good position for the rest of the race. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Welcome, guys, to the Australian Grand Prix, the first race of Season 4. We well and truly have a battle on our hands with our former team, McLaren Honda. McLaren Renault now. It almost feels like they have that much of an upgrade. But yeah, here we go, ready for the first race of the season. We will be doing the one stop. I am very interested though to see whether McLaren do follow suit and stick to their guns with the one stop as well. It will be very interesting, and also as well to see whether Ferrari and Mercedes can get in the mix today. But here we go, the battle that I have been looking forward to for the best part of 60 races now. A straight up fight between myself and Fernando Alonso for the World Drivers' Championship. Let's do this, and hopefully the best man can win. We're going to have the home crowd advantage as well, so let's see if that can do anything for us. Here we go, 5 red lights for Season 4 of F1 2017 Career Mode, and we are underway. Fernando Alonso leads, very nice start there. Stoffel Van Dorn putting me under supreme pressure as we head into turn 1. Had to go defensive a little bit, but we maintained P2 in this Grand Prix so far, already stretching a bit of a gap to the rest of the field in the Mercedes cars. So that is actually pretty interesting to see so far. But Fernando has a really bad run through the middle sector, and looks like we might be close enough to have a dive as we go into turn 9 up the inside, and there's a safety car. You're kidding me. As I was going for the lead of the Grand Prix, a virtual safety car for what I think is nothing. Like, no one retired. There was no one stranded off to the side of the track. That is just completely kind of prevented a pass to the lead from happening there. But we got to get on with things. Looks like Fernando is really starting to settle into things now. We did set the previous fastest up at the Grand Prix, but we'll see how that kind of ebbs and flows between the gaps between the two of us as the Grand Prix wears on. But for the opening few laps, I was trying my best to stay with Fernando. You can see he's just breaking out of DRS range now, and Stoffel Van Dorn is absolutely following me through as well. That's just over a second now to Fernando, and I can say as soon as Fernando broke that 1 second, that was it. Like, his pace was absolutely phenomenal. And now to add further insult to injury, Stoffel Van Dorn is really putting me under pressure now. That DRS was really keeping me in the game there and allowing me to match pace with Fernando. But as you can see here, as soon as we lose DRS, we're so vulnerable to Stoffel. He goes up the inside through turn 1. We just about managed to hold on, and it is P2 for the moment. Team radio.
Alonso is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 2.7 seconds. We're slower by 9/10 a lap. They're on old ultra softs. We think they've got 2 stops remaining. The time last lap was a 1 minute 25.0.
have some good news and we have some bad news. The good news is Fernando is going to be doing 2 stops today, but on the contrary, he is 9/10 a lap faster than us at the moment. So that is pretty excruciatingly fast pace to contest with. I think whichever way you look at this, Fernando is going to be well and truly in the game to win this race. Pace always wins you Grand Prix, no matter what strategy you go on, unless you're stupid and do a 5-stop at Austria, like some people do. But anyway, we'll see what the McLarens can do, as it looks like they're both doing the 2-stop. That's actually quite surprising. I would have thought one of them would cover me off and do the 1-stop, but turns out that is definitely not the case. Fernando caught in a little bit of traffic, both the Force Indias having to contest. The thing is now that the Ferraris, not the Mercedes. Are there any other teams I want to like throw into the mix here? The McLarens are a lot faster now than what they were previously, like at least 10 kilometers an hour faster on the straight, so they can do overtakes now. So these 2-stop races that they seem to love doing at McLaren are really going to work out for them, especially now that they are a lot faster, a lot further up the road. When they do pit, they do not have to overtake as many cars to get through the order. So that is why this team as a package is going to be really, really threatening towards our title chances in Season 4. But into the pits now we go. We're going to be going onto the soft compound tyre, and it kind of pains me to say that as well, because as you guys know, whenever you come to a Grand Prix, the hardest compound is always so slow, and that's probably like the last thing we need when we're in a title fight with cars that are just so fast as they are. With the additional softer compound as well to go with that, they're going to be ridiculously fast. But as we rejoin on the track, we just get out in front of Stoffel and Esteban Ocon, though. It wasn't a great exit out of the pit lane. I always seem to bottle it under pressure coming out of the pit lane when there's cars around me. I always stuff it up, but looks like we might just about hold on to P2 for the moment. Esteban Ocon is up the inside there on older super soft tyres. I think that was the only saving grace there that allowed us to keep that position. And the fact that Ocon was on pretty worn tyres there, and we just managed to hold on. Here's a replay from Ocon's on board. Yeah, he just didn't have the grip to actually hold it on the inside there. If he was on the same tyres as what I was, I think he would have got me there, but thankfully we do keep that buffer to Stoffel, Van Dorn, yellow flag through the middle sector. What is happening here? This is Stoffel into the middle sector. No, it's actually Ocon. On his old tyres, he's locked up both the front, left and right, and completely gives up the position to Stoffel, Van Dorn. And now there's another virtual safety car in this Grand Prix. That's a bit weird. Again, that was a VSC that was triggered by absolutely nothing. Now, Fernando Alonso has dived into the pits. Actually not for his second stop. This was for a drive-through penalty. Turns out, I checked on the race director, and it said that he was speeding under VSC conditions, and that's why he did the drive-through. But now we have another VSC, like literally 2 or 3 laps later. And that's actually really annoying, because again, that was for nothing. I feel like in this Grand Prix, we're getting the virtual safety car glitch, which I had in one of my league race practice races a little while ago. So that is a glitch that happens every 3 or 4 laps or something like that. It seems like it's popped its ugly head once again. Another VSC! How many more do we need to disrupt this race? That's the last thing I wanted, because I seem to keep on losing the delta to the rest of the AI. I can't really... You have to be playing it quite safe, otherwise you get a drive-through penalty like Fernando Alonso just displayed. But VSC ending? Please, can that be the last one of the Grand Prix now? It's getting ridiculous. But anyway, 11 laps to go. Fernando has to make another stop, whereas we are clear to the end. So this is actually going to be really tight. He's going to be quite fast on what I'm assuming will be super soft tyres, or maybe even ultra softs, though I kind of doubt that, to run to the end of the Grand Prix. So it's going to be my duty to keep him behind for as long as I can. I say that, I actually say that, and what do? We completely give up the position. Fernando takes the lead of the Australian Grand Prix, and that's just a free kick in his favour to getting this race victory. But thankfully, though, it actually doesn't cost us too much, because he stops on the at the end of that lap, really. So he only got, what, a second lead on us, so hopefully that won't cost us at all. But yeah, as I said, 10 or so laps to go. Pascal Wehrlein is out of the Grand Prix. The gap to Alonso, like I said, is around 20 seconds. And that's going to be quickly evaporating as this Grand Prix wears on. But yeah, another VSC. I think at this stage now, the VSCs might actually be helping me because it kind of neutralizes both of our pace and stops Fernando from carrying on at a rapid rate of knots. Lewis Hamilton is out of the Grand Prix as well. There are a lot of fatalities happening in the last few laps, and this is only the first race of the season, so that's really confusing to see as well. Like, everyone has fresh power unit components, fresh gearboxes, fresh everything, and yet these things are still happening. Fuel is a bit of an issue. I actually haven't touched upon this as of yet. Like, we were running with like 3.5 laps down on fuel, and we spent like the final stint of this race just trying to recover that to get back in the green. Hello, Fernando. That is a nice fastest lap you got there. 1 minute 22.4, so 2 seconds a lap faster than us. Faster than our fastest lap, mind you. So as you can see, Fernando is well and truly closing us in now in the dying laps of this Grand Prix. The gap is, I don't know, 10 seconds now, or maybe even 13 seconds. Another VSC. That's got to be like number 5, number 6 now. Gap is 10.3 seconds. So again, he's still catching us by 2 seconds a lap, and there's 5 laps to go.
Need to close on them. Tell me about tires.
I'm pushing, don't worry.
So Fernando is closing at a vast rate of knots. We're still not quite there yet in terms of fuel, but we will be able to start pushing very, very soon. Maybe on the next lap. We are plus 0.13 now, so as we head on to lap 27 with about 2 laps to go, I'm going to start pushing and see what this Red Bull is capable of on these old soft compound tyres. Look at Fernando, he just takes those corners like an absolute champion. That McLaren Honda has got a whole bundle of pace, but now it's our turn to show what we can do. Purple, not purple, green to the first sector. 3.5 tenths up on our best lap of the entire race. The gap is 2 seconds now, and you can see Fernando in the same camera shot. That is how close it is in the dying laps of this Australian Grand Prix. Even in this sector alone, he's taken half a second out of us and make that 2 seconds as we cross the line. Where has this pace come from Fernando? This is absolutely outrageous. He draws alongside as we go through the middle sector chicane. Nothing really doing there. It's not really an overtaking zone unless you were literally alongside, which Fernando was not. Here we go, ready for the final lap now of this Australian Grand Prix. Thankfully enough for us though, we do have Marcus Ericsson right in front of us giving us DRS. That is really a massive saviour for us there. Fernando has to tuck in. There's no way he can get us up the inside heading into turn 1. So we are braced with a moment of safety, but not a great run through turns 1 and 2. Fernando is going to go to the outside as we head into turn 3. Really defensive through there. Fernando actually braves around the outside through turn 3. He's going to have the inside for the next left-hander, and he takes the lead of this Australian Grand Prix. I actually can't believe that. That McLaren is on another level compared to us. He just completely duked us round the outside, gets the lead of the Grand Prix. Our only chance now is to get Fernando if he gets tangled up with the Sable, which he doesn't. That's the race, down the drain. It's 1-0 to Fernando.
Yeah, well done. Come on!
Thank you guys, thank you. Merci à tous. Thank you.
Here come our winning drivers then, out onto the podium at the end of a thrilling Grand Prix. The drama and excitement are over, and it's time to let it all sink in. Congratulations to our top 3 today.
There it is. Fernando gets his first race win on F1 2017 in spectacular circumstances. I mean, on his side of the garage, I mean, that is absolutely amazing how he was able to claw that back. After getting a drive-through penalty, mind you, his pace was incredible. Much faster than everyone else. Like, look at his fastest lap versus Stoffel. 23.7 plays a 22.1. Fernando was just driving like an animal today. Look at the move. Round the outside, I was brake limited through here. I was grip limited. Like, literally nothing I could do. I couldn't believe the amount of confidence Fernando had going around the outside. That aero was really working wonders for him there. Really late brake into the fast right hand of it. Yeah, nothing really to fight with at the end of that Grand Prix. The pace actually was comparable in the early laps of the race. It's just that 2-stop. He got through the traffic really well, and I guess he wasn't compromised on fuel like I was. So that allowed him to close the gap in quite rapidly. So that's a massive lesson to learn for the rest of the season. We definitely can't take Fernando lightly when it comes to racing him on track. There was a moment halfway through the race where we let him through, or we made a mistake, and he got through. We need to make sure that we minimize moments like that, and when we are fighting Fernando on track, we need to realize that he is very, very fast in the corners. So, yeah, we'll make note of that, and hopefully we can improve for future episodes. But guys, that has been this episode for today. You guys wanted to see a maxed out McLaren career mode. You are now seeing that, but now from enemy lines. So this should be an interesting career mode to see how it develops. Of course, this car will get faster, the Red Bull. Reliability may come into it as well in terms of the McLaren. But I did do a lot of reliability upgrades to that car as well to make it a little bit more bulletproof compared to how it was when we were driving it. So, interesting times ahead. We'll see how it goes, how the ebbs and flows go over the course of the season. There will be tracks that suit us. There'll be tracks that suit them, or a lot of tracks that suit the McLaren, in all honesty. But, yeah, we're well and truly chasing a car that is much superior to us, and that's going to make it interesting. So, we'll see how it goes over the course of this 20-race season. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Make sure you smash the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2017 content. The next race is Bahrain, and we'll see how we go there. Until then, I will see you next time.